Hello everyone, Miss Hanley here, and we're going to take a look at the Systems of Equations Applications worksheet. So if you could find that in your packet, it's right after the 6-2 Why Did the Ghost Haunt City Hall paper. We're going to take a look at setting up some systems of equations today, and we're creating them from word problems for the most part. So if you remember, there are two different types of equations that we generally use. The first is slope-intercept form, or y equals mx plus b. And the second is standard, ax plus by is equal to c. Now, if you recall, you're always creating two equations when you create a system. And when we look at slope-intercept form, we are looking for numbers that have some sort of a rate and some sort of an initial value or a starting point. So if you see numbers that look like those two concepts, you want to choose slope-intercept form. However, if we instead have a couple things, a lot of times it's money, but they add up to a total. If you see numbers that resemble a total, you're looking for standard form. And then sometimes we just have numbers that are sort of a translation of one or the other, and so those you just want to follow whatever it says. So if you look at number 1, we have Danny, who is selling athletic shoes. All right, and he sells them part-time at a department store. He can earn either, so with situation A, he earns $500 plus 4% on his sales, 4% commission. Okay, and commission is just a little bonus you get from how much you sell. And then for situation B, he gets $400 off the bat and a 5% commission on sales. So I can clearly see that I have two situations. I know that 4% and 5% every time he makes a sale, those would be a rate. So we're probably looking for slope-intercept form, considering that 400 and 500 are the starting values or the one-time value that you might have to pay. So let's create an equation for situation A. So we have $500 per month, and that acts like my y-intercept, and we have a 4% commission on sales. In order to put 4% into an equation, we have to do a little conversion. So we're going to take the decimal point and move it back 2 places. So we would have y is equal to 0.04x, because that's my slope, plus 500. For situation B, we're sort of reversing that. We have a 5% commission, and 5% would be 0.05x plus 400 for a starting value. And then, as you know, we've been working a lot on substitution. So I want to take my first equation that is solved for y, and since it says y equals 0.04x plus 500, I'm going to take what y is equal to and replace it for y in the second equation. And one little piece I forgot to mention is we also want to define our variables. So since we have 0.04 times x, well, we get 4% on sales. So x is the sales that Danny makes, and that's dollars. And then y is going to be what he actually makes, his salary, also in money. So let's do a system of equations here. We're going to replace the y in the second equation with 0.04x plus 500. And let's see what happens. So we're going to have 0.04x plus 500 is equal to 0.05x plus 400. And now we just have to solve. So to take away 0.05x from both sides. So we get negative 0.01x plus 500 is equal to 400. And then we're going to take away 500 from both sides. So negative 0.01x is equal to negative 100. Divide out 0.01, negative 0.01, and we come up with the fact that x is equal to, well, a negative over a negative makes positive. 100 over 0.01 is 10,000. And then you want to think, what does that mean in this context? Well, if x is 10,000, we said x was the sales. So Danny has to sell $10,000 worth of shoes in order to make the same at either job. Well, our question says, what is the total price of athletic shoes Danny needs to sell to earn the same income? So we've answered that, $10,000. And the second part is saying, which is the better choice for his salary? Well, I would say that to sell $10,000 worth of athletic shoes is not that easy. That's a lot of shoes. So rather than doing that, he may want to start with the situation that has a higher initial payment, and that would be the one for me that starts at $500. So that way I know I'm getting paid that $100 extra whether or not I sell any shoes at all. I could be a horrible shoe salesman and still make $500. If we wanted to know how much he would make if he sold $10,000 worth of shoes, you could again replace your x value with the 10,000 into either equation. So let's take a look at that here. So if I have y is equal to 0.04x plus 500, I can do 0.04 times 10,000 because my x is 10,000 plus 500. And 0.04 times 10,000 is going to give me 400 plus 500. So Danny would make $900 after selling $10,000 worth of shoes. So I don't know that that's really enough money for him to stress about selling $10,000 worth of shoes. I think it would be smarter to go with the company that will pay you more upfront. Alright, so take a second and answer that in a complete sentence, and then we will look at the second problem. Alright, so the second problem is sports. At the end of the 2000 baseball season, the New York Yankees and the Cincinnati Reds had won a total of 31 World Series. The Yankees had won 5.2 times as many World Series as the Reds. So we want to write a system that represents the situation. Well, first I want to define my variables so I know which is which. So I'm going to say x is equal to the Yankees, because those are the two things I'm dealing with, Yankees and Reds. Well, I'm technically dealing with the World Series that they had won, so that's what that's representing. And I see that word total. The Cincinnati Reds had won a total of 31 World Series. Well, when I hear total, I think standard form, and I know the total is 31. And we want to think, well, what two things are actually adding up to 31? It's the amount of World Series that the Yankees have won and the amount the Reds have won. So x plus y is equal to 31. That's my first equation. For the second equation, we're doing a little translating here. The Yankees had won 5.2 times as many World Series as the Reds. So the Yankees are my x, and they have won, so they have that equal to 5.2 times as many as the Reds, so 5.2 times y. Well, I see this is perfectly set up for substitution because I have an x equals here, so I'm going to take that and replace the x up above with 5.2y. So we're going to get 5.2y instead of x plus y is equal to 31. 5.2y plus 1y is equal to 6.2y. And then by dividing, y is going to be equal to 5. So this is telling me that the the Reds have won 5 World Series. Now, if I want to know how many World Series the Yankees have won, I need to substitute the 5 back into one of my original equations. Well, x plus y is equal to 5. That's what I originally had. If I take out y and replace it with 5, not x plus y is equal to 5. X plus y is equal to 31. So I have x plus 5 equals 31. Subtract 5 from both sides, and x is equal to 26. So this means I know that the Yankees have won 26, and the Reds have won 5. Alright, so for the next problem, I am going to help you guys set this up, and then I want you to finish the last few problems on this page. So for number 3, the Future Teachers of America Club at Herman High School is making healthy trail mix to sell out to students during lunch. The mix will have 3 times the number of pounds of raisins as sunflower seeds. Sunflower seeds cost $4 per pound and raisins cost $1.50 per pound. The group has $34 to spend on the raisins and sunflower seeds. So again, I want to start by defining variables. So I'm going to say x is my raisins, and y is the sunflower seeds. And these are in pounds, right? So we're talking per pound. Well, per pound does sound like a rate. We have multiple ones. So I would say, because we have a total of $34, that we're looking for standard form. So it's $1.50 per pound of raisins, so that would be 1.5x. And then it's $4 per pound of sunflower seeds. And total, that gives me $34. So I put all the money into that one equation. Next, we're saying that the mix will have 3 times the number of pounds of raisins as sunflower seeds. So I want my raisins to be equal to 3 times the sunflower seeds, which is a good choice, I think, because the raisins are cheaper. So now that we have our 2 equations here, and again, the first one was standard form, the second one was just a translation, you want to solve this system with substitution. And since it says x equals 3y, you can replace x in the above equation with all of 3y. So 1.5 times 3y plus 4y is equal to 34. So I want you guys to take a few minutes, finish this problem, and on the back side, I would also like you to try number 4, 5, and 6. 4 is very similar to number 1, so follow the same steps you did there. Number 5, you have numbers, you have a total amount of money and a total group of friends, so think about what kind of equation you're looking for. And then 6, you are looking to solve by graphing, and you're graphing and shading your inequalities. So work on those, and we will go over them when I see you next.